So a really quick book review for today. When I was 15, or before I was 15, I was kind of precocious and kind of up myself. I was homeschooled, so I kind of had I just didn't get social cues, and mum's advice, solo mum, was appalling for interacting with bullies and with people. So I was kind of precocious, which means like up yourself or condescending, which I guess maybe I still am, but who knows. When I was 15, I left home and I moved myself up to Auckland. So I went from a school in Taranaki where I was very just not cool at all and picked on, and some pretty bad bullying. But I read this amazing book, and then when I went to Glenfield College up in Auckland, it was just a different energy, and this book was probably the biggest impact of my life in that it changed how I interact with people. And it's also really interesting because I have ADHD. When I reread the book, it allows me to shut the fuck up a little bit more and not be so not interrupt as much, which I really struggle with because my mind's just pinging all over the show. So, and it's hilarious every time I worry about having not doing well amongst at work, or having little niggles or conflicts or irritations from people. I'm irritated with other people. I'll reread the book. I used to read it every 6 months, and then all of those things that were problems are suddenly no longer problems anymore. So the book is called How to Win Friends and Influence People. It was written by a guy called Dale Carnegie in 1936, and it's probably one of the first ultra mega self-development books that came out. There's obviously a lot of other ones, so I think for like 2 or 3 years it outsold the Bible. And one of the things I thought was amazing as a writer, he reached out, he did a survey on what are the things that you want advice for the most, or like what are the biggest things, and something like 80% of people said interpersonal relationships, like how to win friends and influence people. So he then went back and designed like a workshop and a course, and this is it. So I'm only going to give you the first two sections, or the first two chapters today, and I'll do it in a second video, so that this will be like a precursor video, and then the other one will just be the parts about the topic without my waffling beforehand. Okay, so the book is called How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, and it was written in 1936. You can find, I think it might even be in the Creative Commons or the public domain now. You can find, there's audiobooks of it on YouTube for free, and there's book summaries all over the internet, and you can search for PDFs of it. It's available, maybe they're naughty copies, maybe they might be pirated, and every single library and every single bookstore will have a copy of it. In 1936, I think there was about 2 or 3 years where it outsold the Bible, and yeah, it's an amazing book, really, really good book. Sometimes with some people, the elements are very being kind and doing good, and sometimes with some people who are tactical or take advantage, this book isn't always perfect for every single person in every single environment, but it is the best book I've ever read on people skills and how to interact with people and how to be liked. So I'm only going to talk about the first two sections. The first one is called Techniques in Handling People. So rule number 1, don't criticize, condemn, or complain. Rule number 2, give honest and sincere appreciation. Number 3, arouse in the other person an eager want. I can never quite remember the details of that. I think it's connect to the person with the things that they like and talk about the things they like. But I need to go back and read that that particular section crazy, given that I've read it so many times. Now, 6 ways to be liked or likable. So number 1, become genuinely interested in the other person. When you chat, smile, and when you talk, smile. One thing that's really funny about smiling is it is an acknowledgement that you feel safe and comfortable around the person and that you like them, and it self-soothes, it makes you feel comfortable. So smiling is fantastic. There's a whole branch of like the alpha, sigma, beta male bollocks, and they believe in domination and all that sort of crap, and it's they say never smile. If you're wanting to be dominant in a situation, okay, cool, fill your boots. Don't smile then. Don't be happy. Don't have people like you. Fair enough. Cool, but smile genuinely. Oh, one really interesting thing. There are 2 types of smiles. That they talk about the genuine smile is when your eyes crease, so it shows that you're smiling and you have a real connection with a person. And then there is what they call a beauty queen smile, where you just smile like but the eyes aren't connected. So that's just a tiny little thing. If you see people smiling and their eyes look a little bit hollow, that might be that they're nervous or that they don't fully trust you yet, which just means that you're not in rapport yet. So anyway, don't overthink smiling, just smile. Remember that a person's name is more important to them than any other thing or sound. So when you talk, use their use their name. I sometimes find, particularly in a conflict situation, that's not as helpful. But day to day, it does add a level of authenticity and connection. Next one is be a great listener and encourage people to talk about themselves. And I love having questions that are not the usual, but I also love when I meet someone, the normal questions like, how are you? What have you done for the weekend? Did you catch the rugby? What about the weather today? They're kind of nothing questions, but it's a safe, simple, low thinking question and answer, but it gives you a hell of a lot of insight into who the person really is. So like, for example, whether you're like, how's the weather today? And just the difference between, oh my God, endless grey clouds and bloody rain, it's so cold, it's horrible, versus it's so crazy, I was dancing in the rain the other day and it just was so good. And that's stupid, but it just makes when I chat, I ask questions, but I pay a lot of attention to what the answer is and what it means and who they are as a person. And also encourage the person to talk about themselves. Questions are how you connect and how you find things out. There are so many things in life with so many people where you're like, oh my God, I feel ashamed that I didn't know the person better, or wasn't aware of their skills or their interests or passions. And you can get it into some particular topic, and immediately the person's excited and you get to learn these amazing cool things that they are so much greater than you for. So 5 is basically this, very similar, is talk in terms of the other person's interests. And then number 6 is make the other person feel important, but do it sincerely. So yeah, that's the first 2 sections of How to Win Friends and Influence by Dale Carnegie.